Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 39 of the Break-Thru Active podcast. It's been over a month since our last episode, so we're really excited to talk to you all. How are you, Mitch?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. We had a bit of a break over Christmas, and then to be completely honest, we've had a really busy start to the new year, and Brody's had a bit of time off, so we've been pulling a bit of extra work, so finally found the time to jump on here and do a podcast, so I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, our goal for these podcasts in 2020 is to keep them under 20 minutes so you can listen to it on your drive to work. So let's get straight into it. Mitch, what are we talking about today?
So we thought we'd do a little bit of somewhat of a recap of 2020 and talk about a few of the things that we learned from the year. Obviously, it was a very eventful year for us and for just about all of you guys who would be listening. So we wanted just to talk about a few of the things that we learned in business and also just in life as well, and share our experiences with that. So the first one was that it was probably the worst year in the years I could kind of think of, or maybe like the history at least, it was terrible. I mean, obviously we had the bushfires to start the year. We had all the things that happened with COVID. And then, even towards the end of that was the Black Lives Matter movements. So it was really just a very, very negative year for the most part. And I think for us, we got off fairly unscathed. I have heard some stories and some times where people have lost their houses in bushfires and then lost their businesses throughout COVID. So I think all things considered, we did pretty well. Yeah. But looking back, it probably was definitely the worst year of our lives.
Yeah, it was like
in terms of just it as a whole. I mean, a lot happened, but getting through that and getting through the other side, I think it definitely is a good thing for us, a good thing for everyone that we are able to keep moving forward. Because even looking at a few of those. Well, a lot of those cases overseas where a lot of people have died from the disease, and a lot of people have lost jobs and lost businesses and lost loved ones and whatnot. So it's been a pretty horrible year.
And for those that don't know, the majority of the world's back to lockdown. Like gyms are closed across America and Canada and Europe. So we are very, very fortunate that we live in Australia, and especially Newcastle. I think we had like one little outbreak in Adamstown in the Jasmine Hotel. Like ever since
that's
we
right.
came out of lockdown in after June 13. And for the most part, life is normal in Newcastle, which is great. Just scan that QR code and head on in.
Yeah, I think, I know I've been guilty of this before when I used to complain about how long it was to catch a flight anywhere in the world because it was, 14 hours to LA and 24 hours to Europe. But it's probably been to our advantage that we are so isolated down here that we didn't really cop the same wrath that a lot of these other countries did. So very fortunate. And like Jamie mentioned, especially in Newcastle, we've had a few little blips on the radar, but, even, looking down at the northern beaches over Sydney where they had lockdowns there, and obviously Melbourne and even Brisbane had a lockdown a few weeks ago. So very lucky to live, where we do, and very fortunate given the circumstances.
Okay, let's move on to number 2, mate. I'll start with this one. We just have a phenomenal base of members who are very, very generous, who supported us through the entire lockdown. I said at that Christmas party, I'm a little bit emotional, and we don't like talking about like membership and the money, just the whole financial side of our business. But at the end of the day, like that is the most important part in terms of giving us work and giving Brody and Steve work and just keeping our business alive. And for our members to support us throughout that period, we really, really, really appreciate it. And there's no words, there's nothing I can say to explain to you or anyone listening just how much that meant to us that March 23 when we closed down, not only were they happy to support us, they messaged us that day saying like they want to, they really want to do it.
Yeah, exactly right. Obviously that Sunday night before when, we were told that, we were going to have to close, we set out to send everyone a message the next day and sort of obviously fill them in with what's happening with the closure. And, we gave everyone that choice. You are able to put your membership on hold, or, you are able to cancel your membership because there were people that were affected directly by lockdowns as well. Obviously, some people lost their jobs and other businesses closed too. But we had such great support, and we had such a great community vibe. I feel like, especially in those first few weeks where we had a lot of people reaching out to us and saying they're happy to support us. And for those people who did, it's something that we'll be forever grateful for. And it was 12 weeks, and it felt like forever. The time since then has been, 7 months. Feels like that's flown on by compared to those 12 weeks there. So just extremely grateful that we do have such a great group of members who chose to support us in that period. Because to be completely honest, if we didn't have that support through that period, I mean, I'm not even sure if we'd still be having this conversation now and if we'd have a business running. So
It's an
we are going to be forever grateful.
It's an interesting thing. I saw a quote, and it's so true. Like, you go to Kmart and buy your plates and knives and forks and air fryers. Of course, I love my air fryer. But like, all of your best experiences, they typically had at a small business, whether it is dining at a restaurant, whether it's going to the gym as your outlet, whether it's going to like a club, like a place to dance. Like, all the great experiences that we have in life are typically small businesses.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think it was always kind of a bit of a tagline, support local business or support local. But until in 2020, it wasn't really seen as that important unless you did work in small business or had family in small business. I don't think you really understood how important it was. And I think, given a lot of places have closed, and then obviously even after a lot of these businesses reopened, they couldn't even operate at full functionality. So there was still need for a lot of support there. And without that support, they wouldn't exist. And Jamie's right. If you look back at some of the best nights out you've had and the best, holidays you've had and the best experiences you've had, where you've met people and made friends, the vast majority of them would have been at small businesses. So without that, we would have been without a lot of the great experiences that we've had in life. And again, just really grateful that we're still given the opportunity to be able to run our business with the help of all our members.
All right, point number 3, and this was so evident after about 2 weeks. And
Not even that long, I don't think.
I hated them.
Yeah, home workouts suck.
Yeah, and it was a blessing and a curse, because, like, obviously when we were doing our home workouts and filming home workouts, it's absolutely so much better than doing nothing. But part of the gym is just going there with your friends. It's leaving the house and spending time for yourself. And I'm very happy, and I'm going to go out and live and say that small group fitness studio gyms will never ever be replaced by technology.
No, I still remember it was maybe in the first week of those home workouts, and we had a conversation, and I think it was me who brought it up. I said, what if all these people love these home workouts and they never want to come back? Because we had quite, good, a lot of people were following them, but it's that soon waved. And to be completely honest, we can't really blame you guys. It is incredibly difficult to work out at home by yourself. And I've had this conversation with quite a few people in the gym where our sole job, our whole job is based on people coming in and training with us. If we wanted to work out via camera and have an app and have you guys do it at home, we wouldn't be in this industry doing what we do. So
no.
Same goes for all of you guys. You wouldn't have started up with us at the gym if you preferred working out at home by yourself. So it was very quick. It was a very quick realization that home workouts were a necessity at the time, and we wanted to provide as much value as we could to you guys at that point where you could work out at home. And we did have a number of you guys that stuck to it throughout the time, but for a lot of you guys, you found it challenging. And when that 12 weeks was up and we reopened, it was absolutely music to your ears, where you could come in and train with us again, because it's hard you have to go by yourself at home.
Yeah, and we were bench pressing this morning at Cardiff, and we had 12 people around the rig, and everyone's spotting each other. We're taking the weights off, we're putting them on, we're encouraging each other, we're pushing each other. There's a 10 to 12 minute time limit to get the work done. Every single component of that is so much better than just walking into your garage and being able to leave whenever you want, or having the children there, or just the music up. It is such like an environment thing, especially for me. I know myself, like I love a good environment to train in. Like if I was to go in my garage every day, I'd be very unmotivated, and that's just part of it. Like it just creates such a great environment to work well.
Yeah, and like I said before, there are some people who like to work out by themselves at home, or go for a run, or work out at the gym by themselves. But it's not the people who come in and see us. They got started with group training for a reason. They want to be around other people. They want to have a trainer and a coach there to help. They want to have the workout design. They want to have the equipment available. So it was really no surprise that they didn't really work out that well. And like I mentioned, even though I thought initially that maybe home workouts could replace us, it was quickly diminished, because we found that people really did miss what we had there at the gym. And that was probably when we were interacting with members, that was the one thing that I kept hearing, can't wait for you guys to be back open. It's just not the same at home. So it's nice to know that we're still needed, and that our positions aren't completely redundant. It's they serve the purpose. I hate Zoom. This is the only time we ever use it, this podcast. And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably started working at home from Zoom, and the last thing you wanted to do a little bit more Zooming with the home workouts. So glad that they're over.
Point number 4, we'll move on, and it's an important one. It's one that we often talk about with each other, is just to appreciate everything, and just how lucky we are just to simply live in Australia, just the freedoms that we have, like just the ability to drive to a gym, work out with your friends for an hour, drive home past a coffee shop, grab a coffee, get home, take your girlfriend, boyfriend to the movies, and just live an absolutely phenomenal, carefree life in Australia. And that was all taken away throughout COVID.
Yeah, especially in the big one, which is still obviously off the cards, is international travel.
Yeah.
We spoke about that a number of times, where it's crazy when you think about it now, that you can just, go down to Sydney Airport and buy a ticket to Chile, and as long as you got a passport, you can fly there and be there in a day and a half. Yeah. That's pretty amazing, but you wouldn't have thought twice about that, 9 months ago. So just having, like Jamie mentioned, a newfound appreciation for everything is something as small as going to a gym, or getting a coffee, or going out for dinner. Me and my partner, we went out to a comedy show on Saturday night, and that was the first real sort of date night that we've had in a long time, where we went out to an event and there were people there, and it was fantastic. It was something that, maybe a year ago we would have enjoyed, but after the year we've had, where a lot of that got taken away from us, and that show actually got rescheduled from May, when we were in the middle of the COVID shutdown. So to be able to go and do that, and be in a theatre with other people watching a comedian, it can be overlooked at times, but I think, at least for us, we've spoke a lot about this. It's something that we won't take for granted anymore.
Yeah, and just like, if you do watch any of the news, like Australia is in such a better position. We had 30,000 people watch the NRL Grand Final, and like all American sports have no crowds. Like the UFC have to rent an island in Dubai and create this big, enormous bubble. When like the AFL Grand Finals in Perth, and you went to a comedy show, and the world is so far from getting back to that it's not funny. But Australia, like it's almost like back to normal. Like even by domestic travel now, all the borders are down. I think, is that right?
I don't know, to be honest, and I might butcher these numbers coming up here, but we've got a good friend of ours who's just moved back from the UK. And I can't remember the exact number, but he was saying that it was thousands and thousands and thousands of cases a day, new cases of COVID. And here we are in Australia with 7.
Yeah.
Or, like 1 or 0 or 13, and it goes from 13 to 17, and we think, oh shit, that's a lot, but in comparison, it's nothing. So that obviously this isn't going to be a political talk, but I think there's been a good job with keeping everything under wrap, because things could have got out of hand very quickly, like it has in other countries, and to the point where they're still locked down, still living the life that we did 9 months ago.
In the States, there's 2,000 deaths a day, still, like 2,000 deaths a day. To put that in perspective, in New South Wales, they've had like 56 total, as opposed to 2,000. Yeah. They're approaching 1 million deaths. So Australia's great. Love living here, never moving. And if international travel doesn't come back, Foster's pretty nice. So is Coffs Harbour. So is the Gold Coast. There's lots of nice places to go. All right, number five,
Exactly.
number five, mate, and probably we'll wrap it up here. And the most important thing of all, and it was a real gut check for us when we were shut down. And I guess when you spend time in isolation, I think it's sometimes a good thing because you spend some time with yourself, a bit of soul searching, and I can 100% say that we are doing this for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did give us more than enough time to think. And it really would have given us an out if we were wanting to pack it in and, give up the business and do something else, because it was, with the circumstances, it would have been very understandable for other people to realize why we're doing it. But given that, and like we said before, given the worst year really possible where we were forced to shut down, Jamie and I and Steve and Brody and Ryan at the time, we spent a lot of time talking and spent a lot of time discussing everything. And it really did make us realize that it is something that we are wanting to do forever. And if, a 3-month lockdown of both our facilities, and with our Carter facility being the same day that we opened up, if that's not enough to deter us, then I can't imagine anything that would. So like you mentioned there as well, Jamie, like it gave us a lot of time to think. And I think it is nice to take a bit of a step back and have a bird's eye view of everything, and really puts everything in perspective. And, we both came to that realization that we love what we do. We couldn't see ourselves doing anything else, and really fortunate to be in the position we are, and really looking forward to the next 30 years in business to we're old and grey.
Yeah, and that really is part of it. Just like shit happens, council DAs don't get approved. There's a pandemic. Members do come and go. Members do leave, but just as long as we're just going to keep ticking along forever.
Yeah, exactly right. And we hope that you are here with us along the way.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, that was episode 39. We're getting back to our weekly frequency on a Monday. We realised Fridays aren't a great day for us to record because we're doing other stuff. Truth be told, the NBA is on, and we're both massive basketball fans. So
good games on Friday.
Good games on Friday. It's like a bit of self-awareness with training, nutrition, guys. We're aware that we need to record on Mondays to make sure that it happens every single week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you're able to, I guess, look back at 2020 and take a bit away from how it was in your life. And let's all have fingers crossed that 2021 is a lot better for us all.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.